Perk, what do you think?
Well, I think the Mavs, right, they're waving a white flag and throwing in the towel, which is very, very disturbing. And like Zach said, it's embarrassing, right? You have Mark Cuban, he did his interview. He's called out Zach at times for talking about Luka. Hell, he just called me out the other day for actually talking about Luka. You know, how are you the owner, but you don't take ownership and accountability and leading with your mistakes within the organization? So now you look at, why did they trade for Kyrie Irving? They damn sure ain't trade for Kyrie Irving to get to this point to make sure that they protect their pick that they may have from the New York Knicks, their top 10 lottery pick. No, they traded for Kyrie Irving to make a push and to get into the postseason this year. And so with that being said, it's all over the place, and it's lack of accountability within the organization. And you know why Luka is probably playing? They probably wanted Luka to sit out. But Luka is saying, you know what? My competitive nature, which we can't deny that, he's going to hoop tonight because he's a hooper. He hoop in the summertime all year long, even when it's not for the Dallas Mavs. But at the end of the day, it's a complete failure by the entire organization.
Right.
One, because they're going to miss the postseason. Two, because they're not going to even get into the play-in tournament. And three, they're sitting and resting guys tonight in a must-win situation. It's embarrassing.
Well, it's also Slovenian night for the Dallas Mavericks. They're celebrating that, so we'll get to see Luka Doncic on Slovenian night. But Zach, you mentioned, okay, well, what could happen is if we see the Mavs actually pull this out. That's not out of the realm of possibility, because on the other side, the Bulls, they are resting Patrick Beverley. Zach LaVine's not playing. DeMar DeRozan's not playing, and Richard Alex Caruso is questionable.
Happy Slovenian night,
bro.
Oh my God! Look at this. Wait. This is the best part about it, because I do believe the Bulls are locked in, correct?
They're locked into 10, yeah.
The Bulls are locked into 10th, which is awesome to say. So, they're like, we don't want to win this game because we get into the postseason regardless. So if we lose this game, we can, we're in
lottery picks, and they're locked in.
And they're locked in. So it's going to, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, this is a rare situation where you will get to watch two teams actively trying to lose. It's going to be beautiful.
Right, because Orlando, it's already locked in. Orlando has their lottery pick. That's all locked in. This is going to be something. The Mavs, they had a 96% chance to make the playoffs at the trade deadline. Today, that has dwindled down to 6% chance. So I want to bring in someone who's actually made these decisions. Bobby Marks, you worked in front offices. You've been faced with these kinds of decisions to make. Would you have done the same thing tonight?
I would have. I mean, listen, the optics stink, right? I mean, we can all agree the optics stink, especially when Christian Wood and Josh Green are resting and their season's going to be over on Sunday. And they've got 5 months to rest. It stinks. I'm not denying it. But when you look at this Mavericks team right now, how it's positioned for the future, their lone asset going into the offseason is re-signing Kyrie Irving. Now, you add a top 10 pick to the mix here. That keeps something that you can trade at the draft. You can develop a player here, but it's a sign of desperation. But how this Dallas team is positioned, they don't have many options going into this offseason, Malika, besides re-signing Kyrie Irving. And if you keep that draft pick, that adds to one of few things that you do have.
So to be clear, Bobby, you do not think, because I think that's a question that a lot of people have. Have we seen Kyrie Irving play his last game in a Dallas Mavericks uniform? You do not think that's the case. That's what I'm hearing you say.
No. I think Kyrie Irving, I'll be stunned if Kyrie Irving isn't back in next year. Dallas has the most money to offer. They are backed in the corner. What are they going to create? $30 million in cap flexibility to go out and get who? And my big question is, can you afford to lose Jalen Brunson last offseason and now Kyrie Irving and another offseason for nothing? And I think Mark Cuban realizes that, and I expect Kyrie Irving back in a Mavericks uniform.
But you said that this is the decision that you would have made too. Zach, when you're looking at, well, the optics stink, but it's the right thing to do, is that where we should land on this? What fans of the game should land on this?
I guess it's a depressing place to land, but it's the incentive structure that the NBA sets up with the lottery. It's, like I said, it's rational and embarrassing at the same time. And in the core of a competitor, It actually should be a decision you don't make. They should go for it while they still have a chance. That's what they did the other night, which is so puzzling. If you're going to go this route, why wait for the outcome of the Thunder Jazz game last night? Why not just go this route, pull the plug? It just doesn't make a total ton of sense, the process here. I get why they're doing it, but man, you got these two dudes, one of which is a first team, second team All-NBA player, another you traded a lot for. I think you should go for it until you're dead and buried, but I get why they disagree.
Wait, Zach, but really quickly, I'm going to ask you this question, then I have a statement. If you were the GM president of the Dallas Mavericks, what would you do right now in this moment? Given everything,
I would go for it. I would go for it. No, I wouldn't have done some of the things that led me to this moment, but I would go for it, if only because I already went for it 2 nights ago and my team pulled out a pretty damn inspiring win.
Do we have any understanding as to when we might actually see him on the court?
Maybe not when we will see him, but we know when we won't see him. We will not see him practice in the Pelicans' last practice of the regular season on Saturday in Minneapolis. They travel, obviously, to take on the T-Wolves on Sunday. He will not play in any play-in tournament games if the Pelicans qualify or stay 7, 8, or 9. Griff said that he would like to get him at least a couple 5-on-5 practices. So right now we're looking at the earliest, in a best-case scenario, practices leading up to a first-round series or practices during a possible first-round series.
Okay, so best case scenario, possible first-round series. Andrew Lopez, thank you so much for joining us here on NBA Today. That's not exactly, Richard, the news that Pelicans fans wanted to hear, because 133
they should be used to it. They
games,
should be used to it.
Right, because he's missed 133 games over the last 2 seasons. That means he's played in just 29 of them. I want to bring Zach Lowe and Kendrick Perkins back into this conversation, because I am curious, Perk, would you manage Zion the same way, the return to the court, that the Pelicans are?
I mean, you have no choice, especially with his history and his body frame. And what it goes to show me, what it tells me is that not only do he have to pass, like, other guidelines or whatever the case may be to get on the floor, but they also put in the word conditioning. And that's been tied to Zion. And when you're out with an injury, we all know as former players that you have to make sure that you're putting the right things in your body. And watching the clip, Zion looks a little heavy. This is just my honest opinion, again. And me knowing David Griffin, or Griff, like Richard would say, I know Griff is saying we can't put you on the floor like this because it may cause you to injure something else. And so when I hear him ramping things up and things to that nature, it usually don't take this damn long for a hamstring injury for a guy to return. And again, like I said 3 weeks ago, if I'm the Pelicans and I'm the front office, I would really consider trading Zion Williamson this offseason.
Zach?
I was next to Perk in studio when he said that.
I remember.
And I remember it. And what I said then preceding that was, the man has played 114 games in 4 seasons. At what point does this become a crisis? At what point does it become a condition that is just endemic to the Pelicans and the Zion Williamson experience? The point may be right now, because it's just unclear when we're ever going to see Zion play this season, next season. How can you know anything for certainty? And if you don't know anything with certainty, how can you go about building your team around this guy as a max level star? I hate to say it. It's not fun to say, but it's the real fundamental question the Pelicans have to start asking themselves. The good news for them is the rest of the Pelicans are playing their butts off right now to get into the play-in and give themselves still an outside shot at getting up to 6. Brandon Ingram's playing the best ball of his life, triple-doubles every other night. Trey Murphy is coming on looking like a potential, superstar kind of role player. Everyone is Herb Jones is making shots. They're fighting for their season and playing really well with Zion out, and maybe that's the best news of all. If he's ever able to come back, this team is reminding him again, hey, we got something here. We got something cooking.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.